You're watching Netflix. If you enjoy the video, please subscribe and hit the like button. Who was Tolkien? JRR Tolkien, famous for his literary works within the realms of Middle-earth, had an exemplary life equal to the heroes and heroines he depicted in his secondary world. But every tale has a beginning, and sadly an end. Tolkien's saga begins at the Age of Empire. It lands unexpected. John Ronald Reuel Tolkien was born on the 3rd of January 1892 in Bloemfontein in the Orange Free State of South Africa to English parents. A family servant thought Tolkien a beautiful child and once took him to his tribal kraal. Tolkien was showed off to the chief and the Usama within the chief's hut. This is a place of ritual worships and an important site for communicating with tribes' ancestral spirits. A blessing was bestowed upon the young Tolkien, blessing that may well have infused Tolkien with African magic, affording him mystical protection. As a child, while still in Africa, Tolkien was bitten by a large baboon spider in the garden. Although he admitted no actual memory of the event and having no special disregard for arachnids, however, it is peculiar, spiders would have a recurring theme in his books. Soon, his African adventures came abruptly to an end. By age 3, tragically, his father died in South Africa. Tolkien's mother soon took him and his brother to live with her parents in King's Heath, England. He was never to return again to his friends and mystic guardians of Africa. In 1896, the family moved to Sarehole village in Worcestershire. He enjoyed adventures exploring Sarehole Mill and Molesley Bog in and around the area of the Malvern Hills, but especially his Aunt Jane's farm of Bag End, a name which was to become synonymous with hobbits. But these heady days of innocence and adventure also came to an end all too quickly as darkness entered Tolkien's life. At the age of 12, his mother died. He and his brother were to be assigned to guardianship to Father Francis of the Birmingham Oratory. Tolkien was to grow up in Edgbaston area of Birmingham. He attended King Edward's School, joining the Officers' Army Training Corps. Whilst at King Edward's School, Tolkien and 3 friends formed a secret society they called the Tea Club and Barovarian Society. At this time, Tolkien went on holiday to Switzerland. Their party hiked from Interlaken to Lauterbrunnen. They continued across the Grunsel Pass, through the Upper Valais to Brig, and then on to the Zermatt. Tolkien often fondly remembered the eternal snows of the Jungfrau and the Siebelhorn, the memory of which was to provide the backdrop to his secondary world of Middle-earth. In that year, Tolkien studied at Exeter College, Oxford, graduating with a first-class honours, where he met his future wife, Edith Mary Bratt. But a darkness fell upon Europe, the world, and Tolkien. In August 1914, Britain entered the First World War. Tolkien elected not to immediately volunteer for the British Army, wanting to stay close to Edith. However, on the 5th of June 1916, Tolkien boarded a troop transport and was sent to the British Expeditionary Forces base at Étaples. Now assigned a signal officer for the 11th Battalion Lancashire Fusiliers. Soon, Tolkien arrived at the Somme in early July 1916. 2 of Tolkien's best friends from the Tea Club were killed outright. By the end of the war, Tolkien lost nearly all his friends and contemporaries. Tolkien may have been killed himself, but had been removed from combat, a mixed blessing, yet a weak, demoralized and emaciated Tolkien spent the remainder of the war in and out of hospital. After the war, Tolkien became reader in English language at the University of Leeds, becoming the youngest professor there in 1925. He later returned to Oxford as Rawlinson's and Bosworth Professor of Anglo-Saxon with a fellowship for Pembroke College. Edith and Tolkien had 4 children, and he was very devoted to them. Each year he sent in illustrated letters from Father Christmas, and each year more characters were added. The major characters would confide tales of Father Christmas's battles against goblins, a precursor for the battles within Middle-earth perhaps. During this time, The Hobbit and the first two volumes of The Lord of the Rings were completed while living at 20 Northmoor Road in North Oxford. Soon another great darkness fell across Europe and the world as war poisoned the earth again. In the run-up to the Second World War, Tolkien was earmarked as a codebreaker. In January 1939, he was asked to serve in the cryptographic department of the Foreign Office. Creative energy was then dedicated to the war effort. After this time, Tolkien completed The Lord of the Rings in 1948, close to a decade after the first sketches. Tolkien moved to Merton College, Oxford, becoming the Merton Professor of English Language and Literature until his retirement in 1955. During his life in retirement, Tolkien received increasing public attention and fame. In 1961, his friend C.S. Lewis nominated him for a Nobel Prize in Literature. Eventually, he and Edith moved to Bournemouth, a seaside resort favoured by the British upper middle classes. Sadly, Edith Tolkien died on the 29th of November 1971. Tolkien was later appointed the Commander of the British Empire by Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II in 1972. Fan attention became so intense, Tolkien took his name out of the public directory, now arguably living as a legend and something of a celebrity. In the same year, Oxford University issued an honorary doctorate of letters, yet Tolkien's work and accolade would remain controversial with other academics even to this day. Tolkien passed away on the 2nd of September 1973 at the age of 81. His magical journey was now at an end. Although Tolkien had left the realms of men, his legacy was to live on as his son Christopher Tolkien posthumously published the Silmarillion, crudely described as the sequel to The Hobbit by the publisher. Christopher undertook much of the editorial work of Tolkien's manuscripts, and so Tolkien lives on through his family, his works, and the society that's in his name. Immortalized, bringing happiness to new readers and fans the world over. I wonder how powerful the magic of that African tribe must have been to grant Tolkien immortality through joy. You've been watching Netflix. If you've enjoyed the video, please feel free to leave a comment in the section below, like and subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you another time.